Good morning. Today is the 11th of September 2024 and I'm going to go through my trading plan and levels for today. Before we start, let's see what news could move the market. We had...
Good morning. Today is the 11th of September 2024 and I'm going to go through my trading plan
Let's find out why that's...
and levels for today. Before we start, let's see what news.
There we go. My feed was running. Okay. Yeah, so looking at news today, we've had CPI come in. We saw a big negative reaction to that, but the market's kind of back to where it was just before 8:30, and we've got oil coming up later, which if you're in oils, crude oil, then that could move as well. And I'm going to go back to news tomorrow. Any more news later? No, tomorrow we've got PPI tomorrow, quite a lot of news, and Friday we've got export news, and so the next few days hopefully should see a bit of volatility in the market, which is good because it's kind of gone sideways this week and it's not really been great to trade. So on my screen we're looking at the ES, this is the S&P E-mini futures, and this is the 4-hour time frame, but let's just flick down to the hourly and get my pen open. So what I'm looking at here is yesterday's high, yesterday's low. They're the two areas I'm watching today, and probably the only two areas I really want to watch. I'm looking for a rejection around this area, 558.08, 550, 55.10. It says area confluence, bottoms of pivots, tops of pivots here as well. We've got the point of control and a lot of volume immediately above as well at 55.20. So this potential area I'm watching. I really want to get as close to this area of this zone as much as I can, and I'll be looking for a reversal. So we've got trend line coming up. I want to see it come out of that trend line, come back in, retest it, and I'll be looking for the entry there. So 55.08 is an area I'm watching, and when I say an area, it's kind of this area there. I'm also watching yesterday's low area. You can see we put in lows from, what's that, Monday, the lows from Tuesday, so I'm going to be watching the same area for a bounce, and that's 54.47, 54.50 area for the bounce. If on either of these levels we either break through and come back, I'm going to find it hard to go long because we've got the point of control above, so I'm not really looking for a long. I've tried a few break and retests of the pre-market high this week, probably about 3-4 times, and each one of them failed. I'm not saying it's still not a good idea, but if I do, it'll be a scalp. A little bit less volume, so it could work, and we've got a target of 55.20. But I'm really looking for rejection there, and potentially rejection up with where the 55.20 area is. And we've got the 200 moving average as well, which is coming down into that area as well. So we can keep an eye out for that area. I'll also watch for a break and retest of yesterday's low, rejection into this 5400, and that's another bounce area I'm watching. So this area here is an area I'll be watching for a bounce. So that's it. Really 3 levels today. 54.01 bounce, 54.47, 54.48, either a bounce or a break and retest short, yesterday's low. And then I'm watching the pre-market high, yesterday's high area for a break and retest long, which will be a scalp. It'll be high risk, only because, like I said, we've got all this volume above here. But I'll also be watching it for a rejection, and what I'd like to see is for it to come into this region here, reject, break the trend, and come back down. And that's it. That's all I'm watching on ES. SPY is going to be very similar. So I've marked up yesterday's low. I've got an alert there. So watching 543, 544 area for a bounce, this region. I'm watching pre-market high, yesterday's high, 549 to 550, this area here for a rejection or a higher risk break and retest. Our 200 moving average is a lot higher, so we've got a bit more space to manoeuvre. We'll get over to the SPX in a second. We can also watch the pre-market low for a bounce. It's kind of that data candle, the big negative reaction we had today. So keep an eye on this zone. Let's go back to ES. I'm not sure why. And then go to the 5-minute chart. What I do like to do sometimes is just put in an anchored VWAP on that candle, and also I like to just draw that area there. Let's change that to data drop fibs. That's the one. So I'm watching that candle today. So you can see we came down. It's just an idea. You know, if we could watch for the. Still not a big fan of the bounce because there's a point of control above. If we lose that 50% area, then we could potentially be watching for shorts as well, and that would be below this area. Bit of volume to the left. I'll keep an eye on that, but I really only want to play the levels we just talked about, which is the highs of yesterday, lows of yesterday, and the lows from Friday. I think that was Friday. And obviously we've got the rejection point at 55, 56, 55, 60 area, which is the area of confidence. SPY, like I said, is exactly the same. Bounce at yesterday's low, breaking retest short, potentially at pre-market low. Pre-market high, yesterday's high is the same place, breaking retest short, higher risk because it's going against the trend on the hourly. But I'll watch it also for a rejection. We're coming up into that area right now. Order flow looks okay. There's a little bit of an anomaly which I'll get to in a second. SPX, we're going to be opening slightly higher today than we. Where did we close yesterday? Oh, but around about the same place. We're going to be opening where we closed roughly. So we've got this area 55.02 for a potential rejection into the 50 moving average. So we only want to go long, that scalp long I talked about, if we're above that area. If we're coming into that area, then we probably want to stick to the shorts. And then we've got the bounce down here. We can see we held it quite a lot down at 54.01. And then we've got 54.36 area for the break and retest short, or the bounce. And that's SPX NQ. I quite like this 18.945 to 1900 rejection area. So I'll consider that. And then I'm not sure about the break and retest long into the 200 moving average, and we've got a little bit of junk to the left. You could also say that we're looking at a left shoulder, head, and are we going to, is this a right shoulder here, little one, or are we going to set up a right shoulder for a reversal? We can keep an eye on that. We are putting in higher highs, higher lows each time. Come down, we haven't quite completed this cycle yet. But I also quite like the bounce down here at 18,600, 18,500, and that's it. That's all I really want to consider really on NQ. QQQ, right in this area of confidence right now. The point of control is right above, so this is a big rejection area. I quite like this area right now. So this entire area we can watch for rejection. So basically 460, and then a bounce area. This area down here at 552, 551, and we can also watch this area for a bounce as well at 446. Let's just move that one up. And that area there, 448.12. That's the areas I'm watching on QQQ. Crude oil is in a hourly downtrend, putting in a series of lower lows, lower highs, as you can see there. And you can probably draw a trend line from this as well. Let's have a look. If I were to extend it, pretty much like that. You can see we were holding the trend line, then we lost it, and now we're below it. So this is looking bearish, quite like the rejection round here, but potentially just happened already. Maybe if we put in a double top, we can watch for a short. You can watch yesterday's low for potential bounce. Let's see where that is to the left, what levels we've got. I'm down there for a long time. Let's look at it on the 4 hour. There's a few pivots down there. Let's just mark them up. That area there, any rough areas. There's a demand zone there as well. So we've got a few levels we can watch for coming into it. So we can watch 64, 64.20 for a bounce. Obviously we've got 65.50 for a bounce, exactly where we got to yesterday. And we've got a few levels, I think, just continue the trend until it breaks. Gold. Still looking bullish. We've had a big negative bar in the last, when was that? That was today. Let's go back to the hourly. That must have been with the 8:30 news. That was 7 o'clock. Whatever happened at 7 AM. Oh no, I think that's the 8:30 news actually. Still quite like the break and retest if we can get over pre-market high. We've been holding that area for such a long time. So if we are to break it, we've got to get over and come back and test that region there, which is the tops of all these candles. Otherwise, we can watch for a bounce. You know, you could say this is an inverse head and shoulders. This is the neckline, so we are waiting for it to break out. Came into that bounce area we've been watching as well. So we can watch that area and we can potentially watch this area as well. But the big area I'm really watching is 2500, 2505, this area here for the bounce and off of the trend line as well. So that's it for gold, the Russell 2000. Now let's clean up some of these levels. Remove drawings, that's better. And then let's draw a new so you could put these together there. So if you see it like that and just basically put in, I just want to try and touch as many pivots as possible. Potentially it's a breakout, but depends on how you see it. We've got a left, a head, a right shoulder. Potentially we've got a neckline as well, this region here, and we could be looking for the breakout of that area long. But then if you draw another trend line, if we connect these ones up, okay, right, if you connect those up, it joins, so it's the same area we've broken out as well. So I quite like the break and retest back down here at 2088. So let's just draw that level. This area for the bounce. This area, so we've got 2088 for the bounce, 2100 or 105, 106, pre-market high basically for the break and retest long. And we've got some way up before we get into this area confluence and these big pivots. That's probably all I'll be watching, and potentially watching yesterday's low as well for the bounce. How's that look on recent pivots? Biggish area there as well, so across that we get down. So they're the areas I'm watching on that YM, which is the Dow Jones. So we were holding below this trend line, now we're holding above this trend line, and again, oh, I wasn't doing that. Something like this. Again, we're looking at a potential left shoulder, head, right shoulder, this region here, neckline, not the greatest one, but that area there. So we can potentially watch for a bit of a breakout of yesterday's high, come back into it for the long. And I do like the bounce down the pre-market high area, yesterday's low, so 4,500 for the bounce. Those numbers are pretty much spot on there. And then the break and retest over yesterday's highs, got to get above this 50 moving average. And then finally Bitcoin on the daily. It just went sideways for the day. Sideways. Volumes reducing as well, so not much of a pullback. So potentially looking for a bit of a breakout over that region. So 58,000, break and retest long. If it comes back down into this trend line, we can watch out for a long as well. You see we've honoured that trend line for the last, well, for most part of this year since March. And every time it comes in, we're bouncing, the same as the top trend line. So this can be our rejection area as well. 63, 300, 60, 6200. This area here, we can watch for the rejection. Okay, that's it. Let's just quickly go over some order flow, what we're seeing right now in the market. Let's go back to the hourly. Just to recap the levels, we're coming into a rejection area right now, 5508. So we'll look at that on the order flow. Flicking over to my order flow screen. Is that the right screen? Yep. So that's my order flow. What have we got? So we've got this 8:30 data candle come in. This is a 30-minute filtered. We see a bit of volume down at this point here, so there's a buyers waiting down here, and doesn't seem to be a coincidence that we've also got the same buyers waiting down in that region. So that area 54.72 could be an area to watch for later. We've got 54.47 is a bit off where we're watching, but that's an area for a scalp potentially. This is the candle from the data drop. You can see we didn't have much of there was not much buying pressure, and the candle sold off, which now you can see why it kept going up. So the buyers, aggressive buying there, so we've seen positive aggressive buying. And look at this, we had this big, at 9 o'clock, this big wide range candle, but the corresponding candle, I suppose it's a wider range, but it doesn't match the others, so it's a bit of an anomaly up here at the moment. Although you could argue there's no divergence, putting in new highs, so it's a tough one. So I think we need to wait for a break of trend, and so this is our 2 minutes. We want to see at least that break, come back down, come back up into the retest, maybe 5500. That's a nice psychological number, and then back down. One thing to note as well is rollover week, contract rollover week soon. So you might see some volume leave this contract. These contracts, the September contracts, move into the December contracts. I got it down for the 16th on TradingView, but I know some platforms will switch over early. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button if this video is helpful and you like it. I've got this order flow streaming on my other channel right now, so which is live, and that'll be live right through until the end of market today. So keep an eye on the order flow, because this is where we can find clues as to whether the market's reversing or not, and these clues are high volume, similar to what we're seeing here, aggressive buying imbalances but with no follow through, could show us that there's limit orders triggering. Again here we had aggressive selling, but we didn't go down any further, and then we reversed. And then on top of that, we can keep an eye on divergence as well. So here's a good divergence example. So we've got, I'll just get my pen. So we had price continued to go up, aggressive buying, while the price was coming down there. So there's a little bit of a divergence if you're looking at it, and we can see that because we had aggressive selling balances, 4 in that candle, lots of volume over here as well, but the most volume was up here. And then we had this aggressive sell off, and then there's no follow through, it couldn't get below, and then in fact it instantly gave back with buying, aggressive buying imbalances. And then you can see the volumes near the top end, the volumes up here, and we're still pushing up, but we're getting a lot of volume coming now. But look at this, aggressive buying imbalances. There's 5 in that candle, and we're not getting much follow through, but you know, it's a few minutes before the market opens, so let's see what happens. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching. I'll be back tomorrow at 9 AM.